Thank you very much. Congratulations, Temba. Just a quick one. Playing sport for a South African national team is never straightforward, let alone leading one. I mean, not many can do it. So my question to you is, how tough is it to be a captain of a South African national team? And do the victories mean more than just the points available?
Look, I don't think it's easy, to be honest. I think there's a lot of dynamics that you kind of need to manage. I think for me, the biggest thing is trying to keep cricket the main focus amongst the guys. I hate to bring this up, but it's been a challenging period for the team, for players, for particular members of management. There's been a lot of scrutiny surrounding the team, surrounding the organization. So, to manage the conversations that happen within the changing room, to ensure that our energies are 100% geared towards performing out there. I think for me, that's been the biggest challenge. It's been a big responsibility, but I think it's also been a bit of a privilege as well. But yeah, it's not an easy one leading a South African national team.
Thank you again, Spogazi. Well played there, Skip. Great stuff on the series win. I just wanted to ask you now, generally, the belief is that in the last 3 or 4 overs, you want to have your most experienced bowlers take it home. But please talk to us about the importance of letting a newer bowler, so to speak, a newer bowler to the team, like Usisana Magala, to have that opportunity in those death overs.
Yeah, I think, take a guy like Usisanda. He's a new guy on the international scene, but he's played a lot of domestic cricket. And we know what he's capable of through his performances at domestic cricket. Bowling at the death is one of his strengths. It's one of his fortes. So, that's the reason why he's in the team. When we look for guys to bowl at the death, he's one of them. So if a situation arises where we need someone to bowl at the death, those last 10 overs, Sisanda's name always comes to mind. So for me, it's not a matter of whether he's a senior player or not. That's his role within the team. So he has to execute it. I've got the confidence that he will execute it when that situation arises.
Hi, Temba, well done. Temba, I heard you saying on your TV interview the other day that you really enjoy captaining because it allows you to think a little bit less about yourself and then more about the team. But at the same time, it does seem to have brought out some really good form from you. How have you felt about your own game away from the responsibilities of captaining?
Yeah, I enjoy the captaincy, and I guess there is the knock-off benefit that it has, or it seems to have shown in my own performances. Like I said, with captaincy, there's a lot of thinking. I enjoy the tactical side of things, and I think with that thinking, that also flows into your own performance. I guess with that thinking, I'm a bit more clearer as to what I'm trying to do. I'm always trying to assess the situation and come up with solutions or plans as to how to counter those situations. So I guess, yeah, that's probably the knockoff or the reason why form has kind of come back with the bet.
Nathan.
Thank you, Spokazi. Temba, your teammate Janaman Malan was announced as the emerging RCC ODI Player of the Year, a man who's played just 13 matches for country with an average of 75 for 8. I mean, what do you have to say about Giannis as a player on and off the field?
Yeah, Giannis is an amazing talent on the field. He's obviously set the world alight, with these performances. And as a team, I didn't know he was announced as emerging, but I'll definitely share a beer with him now to acknowledge and celebrate that. Off the field, he's a nice guy to have around. He's always bubbly. He's always making jokes. He actually thinks it's funny. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Giannis is a guy that you'd have in your team any day.
Hey, Harita.
Good evening, Skipper. First of all, congratulations on the 3-0 series win. I want to know from you, what does this ODI series win mean for you as a captain, especially after South Africa lost the Centurion Test and then made a comeback to win the Test series. What does this ODI series win mean to you?
For me, I mean, it means a lot, you know, as a player. It means a lot. And I think, obviously, looking back at the series and knowing that, you know, I contributed significantly to the winning cause of the team, you know, that makes it even more better. You know, from a captaincy point of view, look, at the end of the day, you'll always be judged on your record. And to convincingly beat an Indian side, you know, of their caliber, and players of their pedigree, you know, I think that speaks a lot to, I guess, my captaincy. You know, things are still early within my career, from a leadership point of view. But I mean, I'll take the positives. I'll acknowledge them, but I'll try very hard to not get ahead of myself.
And finally, Pila.
Thanks, Popples. Temba, I just wanted to find out, how thrilling is it, or how enjoyable is it to see guys getting big hundreds in this format? Because it's something that probably in the past was a bit of a missing element in terms of winning games, because guys didn't, you know, convert as much as they did in this series. And secondly, how important is it to keep on backing a guy like Sisanda, even though he has a bit of a tough start in the beginning of his bowling innings, and then still have the confidence in him to actually come good as the match goes on? Thank you.
Before Temba answers that question, please remember, everybody, that we strictly stick to one question per person, but I will allow that last question. Pila, for your information. Thank you.
Thanks, Popples.
Yeah, look, I think from a betting point of view, it's been I guess a revelation for us as bettors. You know, I mean, a lot of us have been getting 50s, 60s, and then finding ways to go out. The coach gave us a challenge, that we won hundreds this series, and you know, the bettors, we answered to the challenge. I think if you look at our top 6 at the moment, you know, you've got 5 guys who are averaging over 40. You know, I mean, I think that makes for formidable viewing, but also it gives a lot of confidence to the batters as well, to the team. In terms of Sisanda's question, you know, I think it is important that you back a guy. You know, I think you got to understand, at least for me as a captain, I mean, when you bring a guy in, you don't bring him in for 1 or 2 games, he performs poorly, and then you chuck him by the wayside. You know, you got to suck everything that you can out of a guy. You know, like I said, Sisanda is a guy that we see dominating, bowling at the death, bowling in the middle with a bit of protection on both sides of the wicket. You know, and I think you saw, once we started to use him a lot more in those phases, he started to show why he's wearing the South African colors. So for me, there's no panic stations when it comes to Sisanda. Obviously, he knows as well that there's areas that he can improve within his game, probably to be a lot more clinical in terms of executing his skills. But yeah, no red flags for me when it comes to Sisanda.
Thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Please remember that this press conference with Temba is embargoed for tomorrow at 7 a.m. Mark Vouchers is for immediate release. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
Thanks.